There's an upstart group of fireworks hotshots called GFA Pyro.
I get to blow stuff out for fun.
I love when my guys get excited.
Determined to make it to the top in a daredevil business.
I'm a pyro. If you see me running, run.
I need more shell now. Let's go.
But they're going to have to make it to the top, one explosion at a time. This time on Pyros. All hell breaks loose on the streets of Valencia. And GFA is under the gun to pull off 2 New Year's spectaculars. Sebastien and Philippe felt the earth move yesterday in Valencia, Spain. They're here to learn the secrets of Spain's pyro masters. And they ain't seen nothing yet.
This look like a big naked chick.
Yeah, I think they have two naked girls. Oh, man.
Paper mache and styrofoam goddesses tower 5 stories above the crowd.
So close, man, from the building.
There are hundreds of other sculptures throughout the city. It's taken a year and millions of dollars to build them. Tonight, they'll explode and burn in a matter of minutes.
I don't really get how they're gonna burn it without damaging all the buildings around.
The event is called a Crema, and right now, it's less than an hour to burn time.
The main concern here is safety. You see we're really close to all the people.
This intersection is just 30 meters across. Barely enough room for the sculpture and the spectators. No room for error.
If you burn a 5-story sculpture in an open area where there's nobody, there's no buildings, it's not such a big challenge. The thing is, here it's gonna be tons of people, buildings all around the square.
If it's not done right, all 5 stories of it could topple into the crowd.
If this was my job tonight, I'd probably pin my short. Why not? It's true.
If you burn first the bottom, it will fall on the people. Yeah. So it's kind of, you have to burn the lady, the lady, then you go down.
You don't want to cut the structure. And
3 blocks over, the party's starting.
Crema. Man, look at that. It's a big campfire in the middle of a city.
More like a 5-alarm fire. An inferno ignited with specially concocted Molotov cocktails.
Okay. There's a bottle in there with half gas, half diesel. With a detonator we used to work with, you know, a squib. So there's 5 lines that they have to detonate in a different order.
Technicians strategically place 5 bottle bombs inside the main structure. Electric starters will detonate each bomb in sequence, from the top down.
Yeah, they're putting the bottle of diesel and a detonator up there.
But if they want to create a raging inferno, they need one more ingredient: air.
See, now they are making some holes because we need to make it breathe.
Yeah. Oxygen, you need oxygen to burn.
Yeah, and it's...
Hey, it's Fino, man.
Remember Fino from Masleta yesterday?
Fino is a local pyro master. Phil and Seb witnessed his talent firsthand yesterday.
So the best from Valencia, best technician from Valencia.
Fino is back to help pull off tonight's spectacular demolition.
Where do you want it?
I think here is enough, yes.
We are involved in the project.
It's getting close to showtime.
Just before the Crema, we need to regroup all these small elements closer from the biggest one. Just make sure that everything's burnt.
Yeah.
Good luck, man.
Step 1, get everyone's attention.
Down, they're gonna put some little effect on the fires to make it like a little show. The technician has now connecting the electric system, first with the effects. So obviously everything is firing electrically, just the way we do back home. So this is the part we know really well. We've been warned it's gonna be super, super hot, so develop more than 1,000 degrees. So. Let's see. So we're maybe a minute away.
There's too much people around here. So close from the fire. It's crazy. I'm ready.
It's time. The detonators ignite the 5 fuel bottles inside the giant sculpture.
I just started. We started with the strobe.
All the public sees is the fireworks, but inside, the fire is building. Flames gut the structures from within. Then,
Whoa, they burn so fast.
the center of the crema reaches over 1,000 degrees, hot enough to melt brass.
That's a shame the pretty lady has is on fire.
The fire department is out in full force.
Hey, look, they're starting to water actually. Yeah, the people here are excited to see the main structure falling down, and you can see that it's starting to move a bit. You can see the chimney inside of the main structure. The fires burn really straight, and it's not affecting the other buildings. Whoa! Oh, it's almost done. It's burning. It's crazy.
It's been an intense night and a tough act to follow.
Styrofoam plus fire.
I didn't really understand what kind of work those guys has to realize to make it happen so fast. So I have the greatest respect for those guys and for the work.
Back home, this will be impossible.
Sebastien flies home to Canada to prep for his next big show. And Philippe heads for Barcelona, where he'll meet up with GFA's bosses.
Yay, let's go.
They're going to test drive some of the world's best pyro.
Yes.
Hot off the line at a Spanish fireworks factory. The bosses of Group Fiat Lux Amplement, GFA Pyro, are heading for the Spanish countryside. For Eric Cardinal and Maude Furtado, it's one of the most important business trips of the year.
We're going to the factory of Pyrotechnia Igual.
Eric designs most of GFA's shows, and he knows to compete on the world stage, you've got to have the best and the newest fireworks.
A new product is important to be more competitive, to be different, to renew ourselves, and make better and better shows. Making the colors a little brighter, a little better.
Pyrotechnia Igual makes some of the highest quality fireworks in the world.
I came here 1 year ago to kind of negotiate with our supplier, and we're back there to try to negotiate again. Let's see what's gonna happen.
Igual is one of the oldest family-run fireworks companies in Europe.
Hi, Mario! How are you? Hi, nice to see you.
How are you?
Mario Igual is a fourth-generation fireworks maker.
They developed recipes that are guarded like secrets. Nobody knows these recipes. They're locked up safe.
So is the black powder. It's extremely unstable.
Where you see pounder, there is danger because there is a pounder in the air.
It just takes one little moment of distraction or one wrong move and kaboom.
All the working facilities are made like bunkers, actually. This is all concrete. And all the roofs are made from a light metal. So in case there's any accident, an explosion, the rooftop will come up very easily. And everything will go up and not sideways.
The first stop is the candle factory.
They're making Roman candles, which are a product in a tube that shoots multiple effects in repetition.
Roman candles are a staple in every pyro's arsenal.
It's simple. We put lifting charge, then we put the effect that we see. Now they put pounder just to ensure it's burning. Then we put the felt with the internal fuse.
Each blast ignites a new layer of gunpowder below, creating a rapid series of shots.
Is it always with 10 shots, or sometimes you vary the
10
number?
shots is the standard.
These machines you have, are they custom made for you?
They were invented and made for us.
Craftsmen like Chuche make the large aerial shells that are Igual's specialty.
This is the kind of shells that we buy in big quantity from Igual because it's the best quality.
Chuche makes hundreds of shells a day. He's been doing this for 40 years or so.
It's really a hands-on job that can't be learned in school. It's learned from father to son, from master to apprentice. It's impressive.
Chuche fills the two halves of each shell with hundreds of gunpowder pellets called stars. Adding different types of metal flakes to the stars creates different colored effects.
This is an actual star, and this is what makes the little color points you see when a shell bursts. Lit from the middle of the star, it explodes and it spreads in the sky.
Chuche then seats a powerful burst charge in the center, joins the two halves, and tapes them together. When he wraps it up, he places an explosive lift charge at the bottom.
There's a finished 250 millimeter shell. We have to insert this in the bottom of a tube, ignite it. The fire goes to the bottom, lights the lift charge, which creates an explosion, pushes the ball way up in the sky. Meanwhile, there's a time delay fuse going inside the shell to burst the center, ignite all the little round stars.
Try it, try it.
You want me to try it? Okay, 1, 2, 3. But to see the whole process again and have that touching in your hands is pretty special.
But the only thing that really matters in fireworks starts when spark meets pyro. It's time to see the effects in action and decide which ones to buy. which ones will help them win shows.
Yeah, let's go. Let's shoot.
Philippe joins Maude, Eric, and Benoit Berthelet, GFA's other designer, for the viewing.
Fine.
It's an opportunity to see shells individually shot and to really analyze each product. We don't get to do that very often.
We've got 42 products that we'll be shooting individually to observe and take notes to see if they're what we were looking for. Did you see? That, yeah, nice burst. I don't think this shell would pass tests because the fallouts actually go to the ground, which is not something we like in Canada.
They rate everything about a shell. How well it breaks. How long it burns.
Exactly, 22 seconds.
22 seconds.
75 millimeter big purple wave. Of course you get excited. It's when it goes boom and there's color in the sky, and I get impressed like anybody else.
Some shells are clear winners.
Ouais.
Big,
Wow.
not so many stars, but...
No, but powerful and long-lasting.
Yeah.
Some shells don't make the grade.
It's so little and look like,
I think the majority of the products are very satisfactory. A few, I think, we might choose not to order.
Yeah.
The next day, it's time to hammer out a deal.
Oh. We can talk about new products that you want to have.
We always want to get the best product possible, but price is still very important because we're in a competitive business. Maude has to haggle hard for a year's worth of the best pyro. She stands her ground, and let me tell you, I mean, I've had to deal with her as an employee and as a business owner, and she stands her ground.
Gracias, Mario.
In the end, Maude seals a deal. And more. She's not only buying a year's worth of shells, she's landed a contract to exclusively distribute Igual shells in Canada. A coup for GFA.
They have something to gain from us, and we have something to gain from them. It's a nice relationship. It's nice people to work with.
On the road ahead, an international doubleheader in 2 hemispheres.
I'd ruin their New Year's if it wasn't going to shoot on time. That's a lot of pressure.
Can GFA pull off Pyro's biggest night of the year, New Year's Eve, on home turf and in Rio? On the outskirts of Rio de Janeiro, preparations are in full swing for the biggest New Year's party on Earth. Sebastien and Philippe Girard are part of the team that will make it happen. In 36 hours, they will help fire a show just off the most famous stretch of sand in the world, Copacabana Beach. GFA's other big show is on the company's home turf, in frigid Quebec City, a far cry from the scorching heat of Rio.
There we go. I'm gonna be near the beach. My friends are freezing.
Philippe and Sebastien are playing in the big leagues now, as lead riggers on a world-class crew.
We're expecting 2 to 3 million people watching our show right in front of us.
They're soaking up the secrets of international pyro at a $10 million show that's going to light off 22,000 explosives.
It's a lot of product, man.
Day one, we emptied the trucks. It was like 6, 7, 8 trucks full of mortars. With 70 people running around to spread all the mortars on 11 barges. It's a gigantic carpentry shop. People sawing, nailing. We set up racks for 2 days. And we could see it was awesome. Then on third day, we started to load all the explosives, which is another crazy part. 60, 70 people just dropping shells, just loading explosives.
There's a lot riding on this show. Rio's New Year's Eve fireworks are a humongous spectacle with a tragic past.
10 years ago, I know the big accident on the beach.
The big show used to be shot from banks of large caliber mortars set up right on the beach, in amongst the partiers.
It was crazy.
In 2001, a mortar wreck tipped over and turned a barrage of fireworks on the crowd.
We're playing with bombs. Sometimes those bombs can be killers.
One person died. 50 were injured. This year, the crew will line up their pyro on 11 barges offshore. Millions will gather on the beach to watch a wall of explosions.
We're gonna be spread 4 kilometers apart from the last barge to the first one, and we're gonna be 300 meters from the beach.
The public is at a safe distance. But Phil, Seb, and the crew will be even closer than usual. They'll be on board the crowded barges, right beside the mortars as the shells fire.
The rules are different than Canada.
Usually we're 100 meters and more away. Maybe one shell over 1,000 that blows on the ground. It's really rare, but it happens. And then it's like Vietnam here. The small one, if it goes, well, they take your arm away, but this takes your life away for sure.
I just want a good show. I don't want to think about the worst. Yeah.
Sebastien and Philippe have brought 2 trusted pyros with them, Gabriel Dallaire and Bernard Lemay.
Hey, Gabriel, do you need help? I do this job because all those guys are like my brother. We are a big family. Bernard is actually my father.
Just don't know you're my son or my daughter.
Local workers helped set up the mortars. Now, GFA is left with the more complex task of wiring up the shells.
As you see, we're a really little team that does this. We want to do this ourselves and make sure everything's going to be fine. Has to be really tight, and concentration is the main thing today.
Here you have one patch box of 32 lines, 1 to 32. On this barge, you have 8 patch box like this.
Over 250 lines per barge. 11 barges. The GFA team has a lot of wiring to get right, and they need to finish today.
We get to dream of tiny yellow and red lines in our sleep. Plug in, just plug in. We do that all day.
If this cable unplug, that means all this section of this barge stay on ground. Disaster is a good word.
But we have the bad news now. Look what's coming. The forecast is rain all day today, all night tomorrow.
Rain will slow down the combustion of fireworks because the firework won't have the same quantity of oxygen.
If it rains, the show will still go on, but it may end up looking like dim flashes of light behind a wall of smoke.
This is life. We cannot push those clouds away.
Hey, I'm trying to understand this. Female to female? That doesn't work. Doesn't work.
It's a cool job. Yes, it's dangerous, but it's a second family. I travel a lot, and for me, it's one of the good part of my job. But actually, yes, it's hard to be far because I have I'm gonna cry. Yes, I have a small brother.
Sebastien has spent 20 weeks of the past year away from his daughter.
Actually, I miss her a lot. 3 years old. And she's young, but she know what I'm doing. And she loved that. I don't know.
Tomorrow night, Seb needs to ride herd on thousands of explosions. But he also needs to get home to his little girl, safe and sound. As New Year's Eve approaches, the pressure is on to give a few million revelers a night they'll never forget.
Copacabana, yes!
But when Sebastien sees his barge, he's in for a nasty surprise.
It's almost suicide.
It's the morning of December 31st. 11 barges running the length of 1.5 football fields have been loaded with explosives and wired up. Dozens of technicians worked at it for a week. And now Vivian Perez, the show's organizer, hands out the final assignments.
A balsa 1 será a primeira balsa a estar posicionada. Portanto, a balsa 11 é a última balsa que estará posicionada perto do Forte de Copacabana. Tá? Balsa 2.
She awards each of the 11 most trusted technicians command of a barge. If anything goes wrong during the show, they're the ones who'll have to pull the plug or bail out.
Sebastien, balsa 11.
Sebastien. Sebastien. Montreal, Canada.
Sebastien is chosen to take charge of barge 11, the end of the row. Philippe is given barge 6.
Balsa 6.
See?
Right in the middle of the show.
Dentro das balsas estarão única e exclusivamente estas pessoas chamadas agora, mas ninguém entra em nenhuma balsa. É ordem expressa minha.
Seb and Phil are in key positions in the world's biggest New Year's show. The crews begin their final checks. With 22,000 shells, it'll take almost a day to ensure nothing can go wrong.
Yep.
Up in the frozen north, 2 other GFA boys, Eric and Benoit, face their own challenge. How to pack an explosive New Year's show into the tight quarters of old Quebec City. Benoit Berthelet designed tonight's show. He's worked in theater and crafted pyro for Cirque du Soleil. He's creative, intense, GFA's resident artist.
Benoit is always emotional.
So, first of all, we have to set up the motors. We have 5 posts.
Benoit designed tonight's show. Eric's job today is to help make it happen. But the 2 men have already hit a roadblock.
As you can see, we have no fence around the site.
We can't even start pulling our fireworks out until the road's closed and there's no public.
Monsieur, vous pouvez pas rentrer. Normally, at this time, we were supposed to have some security guys in action.
You know, regular people just don't realize that there are genuine explosives, and the only difference between this and a regular bomb is that at the end you get color out of it.
We need a fence, but we don't have it.
Right over there on the corner, we have a bunch of fence, and no one of the city are doing their job. So.
Until these city blocks are fenced off, all the pyro stays in the trucks.
No, monsieur. When you set something, you have to think, first of all, the public.
But with a tight site like this, I cannot use the big, you know, the major shells.
One of the classic tricks we use is perspective.
Benoit designed his show with the larger aerial shells as far from the public as possible for safety. But he's placed hundreds of smaller effects close to the audience. From the crowd's perspective, the closer effects stack up against the farther ones, creating the impression of a bigger show. The safety barriers finally go up. 2 hours behind schedule.
The show's tonight, and now we gotta get it done.
We have to be on time. Everybody knows that midnight is midnight.
At last, the crew can get their hands on the shells.
Well, we're spreading out all the effects there by post. There's gonna be 17 spots on the field where boxes are gonna be.
Okay, so that's good.
Those motors will go for Ram B, and here for C.
Well, now I have a nice assembly of one-shot silver comets. But we went crazy with them, and we have like 100 or so to prepare.
118 shots like this. That's a lot.
The closest effect to the crowd is going to add a little heat.
During the show, we will have some flames go out of these little box. It's our flame generators.
They're fueled by a clean-burning solvent called isopar.
Those are the tanks we use. We basically fill them with the solvent, pressurize them with nitrogen gas, just to push the solvent out. Right now we have one that seems to be defective, so we're in the process of replacing it. That's the flame generator unit. It runs off an electrical arc, and right underneath that is the nozzle for the solvent, which will be spraying out. And when the solvent crosses the electrical arc, it just lights up, and that's what generates the flame. Be advised, we're gonna test the flames. Ready? What's kind of fun about it is we can have the audience stand close enough so they basically feel the heat, and it always comes out as a surprise because they can't see anything until they go off.
Down in Rio de Janeiro, Sebastien and Philippe go to check on their assigned barges. Sebastien is in for an unpleasant surprise.
It's the smallest barge in the whole setup.
As you can see, this is my barge. You see how everything is really far apart? And this is Sebastian's barge. You can see the difference. It's obvious. You're gonna die, I'm gonna survive.
Sebastian's little blue barge is less than half as big as the others. The problem is, it's crammed with just as much pyro.
Everything is really close. All the explosives are close to each other.
If one of this big shell blow in the tube, all this block go down, for sure.
An in-mortar explosion is when a shell detonates at the bottom of the mortar tube without lifting off. Large caliber shells need a lot of space around them to stop a misfire from igniting the whole layout. On Sebastian's cramped barge, the chance of an in-mortar blast going viral is much greater.
Every mortar are so close, and I will be close.
Even worse, his firing booth is a fire trap.
This door is towards the explosive. This is the main problem because if you have a major blast and guns are angled towards him, he cannot get out.
If this whole block of mortar goes down and hit my cabin, it's almost suicide.
We don't want what happened, like.
Sebastien is forced to think outside the box.
I want to go there. I can be here. Oh, I can see something in the sky.
He'll have no roof over his head, but if things go south, at least he can dive off. The clock and the year are winding down. Just hours from now, on 2 continents, GFA has to launch a spectacular new year. In Rio de Janeiro, Sebastien, Philippe, and the rest of the Pyros have done all they can to prepare for tonight's show.
We're shooting the biggest New Year's Eve in the world, so let's hope for the best. 9 to 5 in the office. If I'm sitting in a desk, it's unlikely I'm gonna explode. Cannot, this is my life. Being dirty and just working hard, and I love it, and it's gonna be this forever.
The barges travel 50 kilometers through Guanabara Bay to anchor off Copacabana Beach.
We're waiting for a boat to bring us to our barge.
I'm a little bit nervous, for sure, but...
The boats are ready.
We're experiencing one of our history moments, personal history moment.
Tonight, that should be probably one of the better moments of our life, for sure.
This is the final ride out to the barges. Seb and Phil aren't coming back until after it's all over. It's just a couple of hours until New Year's. And in Quebec City, Benoit and Eric are still working the kinks out in the cold.
A full test right now, is it okay?
Benoit has the firing board send a low voltage pulse through the entire system to check the connections. The result is not what they'd hoped for. The test has revealed 13 trouble spots.
Okay, I'm now at module 7, the one that has a lot of bad cues.
Each cue sets off one or more electric igniters. One igniter may light one effect or a whole string. 13 bad cues could easily mean 100 shells stay on the ground.
5, c'est sur le A3, là, au bout.
One by one, they have to track down the cause of each problem. A broken wire, a faulty igniter, a bad connection.
Okay, Benoit, test again.
Still the same?
I think we'll have to change the box.
The freezing cold is pushing the equipment to its limits.
Is 17 good or not now?
17 is okay.
One stubborn cue on Module 5 still won't come to life. Eric confirms the shell is wired correctly, but one terminal on the module is dead.
Okay, Module 5Q19 is a silver comet, and the igniter is good, so for me personally, I don't know if we should change the whole panel for one silver comet.
Swapping out a whole module would take at least 15 minutes. When the clock strikes midnight, they might not be ready.
When the crowd's counting down and they want to hug and kiss at that same moment, I'd ruin their New Year's if it wasn't going to shoot on time, so it's a lot of pressure. If it was my show, I'd say screw it.
But Benoit is the designer of this show, and he is a perfectionist.
The most important moment of the year is the last moment of the year.
And that moment is getting closer.
We have room into a module 3.
He wants to try repatching the last silver comet into a module that does work.
Okay, we'll reprogram you into module 3Q32. Good, no good, good.
Good. Okay, it's good now. Finally, we have a full show.
In Quebec City and in Rio de Janeiro, anticipation.
It's supposed to be the best show on earth, and that's what I'm expecting. It's going to be spectacular. Nothing but the best. Copacabana, yes.
You can feel it, eh? People are getting anxious, the crowd's getting anxious.
Okay, meeting. So I will say to everyone, Happy New Year right now.
The GFA team in Quebec bump fists. Sebastien and Philippe's only contact is by radio.
Okay, we are actually in 3 minutes for the beginning of the show. Wow.
They're alone on barges 6 and 11 with half a ton of pyro each.
This is it, dude. This is it.
No one else and no cameras are allowed.
Okay, we're all set.
The countdowns begin. In the frozen north,
10 seconds.
and in the steamy tropics.
7, 6.
Everything the Pyros have worked for comes down to this. 3 seconds from now. GFA has worked all year for this moment.
This is it, dude. This is it. 1 minute, 1 minute.
2 year-end celebrations. One at the biggest New Year's beach party in the world. The other back in their home province.
10 seconds. 7, 6.
True.
Phil is on barge 6. Seb is on barge 11.
Flames, they're dancing as they should. It's a great moment.
I actually was really impressed with Benoit's design. Amazing.
Getting closer to the end now.
We were close to the crowd and they got a hell of a show.
Nobody got hurt. It was a total success.
Next time on Pyros, GFA is stretched to the limit.
That was module 11, by the way.
I would try to keep my smile, but actually I'm pissed off.
18 shows in 2 days.
You can see people right there.
Something's gotta give.
Ciao. We got a load break.
Stay there, stay there, stay there.